folks, nice to meet you again. Today we'll be developing a new game which I've been working on for the past few days. This game is going to teach you how to use the for loop, how to change a sprite's color, how to use game states, how to use the and loop, and many more interesting things. So in this game, as you can see that I've instructed the player to do what I want to proceed in the game. So at the really top, near the top edge, it says press space to serve. Okay, so I'll press the space key and you'll see that my game has started and there is a score on the really top. I am controlling the right board with my mouse. So wherever I take my mouse, my board will be traveling alongside it. But on the other hand, the computer paddle, it's working on its own and it's traveling wherever the ball goes on its own. So this game, it's pretty easy, and when you learn it, you're going to be very interested in developing many more games like this. So let's crack in and start developing this code. So I'll open a new tab, write in code.org, create, go to game lab, and of course we'll be developing our code over here. I'll switch my mode to blocks, and after some videos we will be working in our text mode. In the text mode, of course not everywhere there is blocks, so if you want to go ahead and make a career out of this, you can learn the text mode. So let's make a sprite. So there's going to be 3 sprites in our game. One is the player paddle, one is the computer paddle, and one is the ball which travels by itself. So I'll just drag the create sprite function 3 times. Let's name this player paddle. And its position right now is 200 200. We'll change it to 380 200 and give it a size of 10 and 70. We will do the same with the computer paddle, and let's name it computer paddle. Computer paddle, sorry, with a position of 20 and 200, and it should have the same size as our player paddle, the player paddle which we control. So that is 10 and 70. Heading on to the ball, let's name our sprite ball. It has already the position of 200 200, which is in the really middle of our canvas. That's what we want. And let's give it a size of 10 10, which is a perfect square. Now let's give the computer function, the instruction which tells it to draw everything we could. So now you'll see that we have one computer paddle, one player paddle, and one ball right in the middle. Now what we want is that we want to set the background in this in our game. Let's give the background black, because that is what the original game has, with a black background and a green color of sprites. So that's the background. And to change the color of these sprites, we'll have to go to the sprite section, scroll down, and we'll see there's a function called sprite.shapeColor. This function with this function you can alter the color of your sprite. So I'll just drag that 3 times because there are 3 sprites and I want to turn all of them to green color. Okay, player paddle dot shape color, green, but we'll have to do it with double quotes, because if we don't do it with double quotes, the computer will say that that green is not defined. Anything you put into double quotes is called a string. Okay, I'll just name these two computer paddle and ball. And now you'll see that we've got a fine looking game, and now all we have to do is give the properties of the sprites. Now in my previous game, what I've done is that I have made a center, like in the center there is a dotted line right in the middle. So what I'll do to make this dotted line, we'll need to use the for loop. So go to control. If we go into the control area, there's going to be a for loop written over here with many different colored things in it. So I'll explain these step by step. So we'll drop this underneath the background color. Now what we've done over here is there is already a variable made called I. So in this program already variable I has a value of 0. So we won't change that, and we'll head on to the second area. So because our first variable of I is 0, that is the starting point of our line, where our line would be made. So that's the 0, because our line would start at position 0 and would end at position 400. So I'll write 400 up here. And now what you will see over here is I plus plus. We will drag that out because that's not correct. We will write I plus equals to, as I did in my previous program, we'll write 20 because we want it at spaces or at bigs of 20. So each small line which makes the whole line, like there are many small lines which will go ahead and make a big line. So the value of each of these small lines is 20 pixels. So that's 20. And now we'll need to assign the computer, we'll need to tell the computer to make a line. So we'll just drag that in our for loop. In the drawings area, there will be a line x1, y1, x2, y2. So these x1 and y1 and all, they are the positions. So the first number of x, the first position of x, the first position of y, the first position of x2, and this is the second position of x, and this is the second position of y. So we'll just drag that in our for loop, and now we'll need to change these positions. Of course, in our line, the x position stays the same because it's in a straight line. So, and we want it to be in the middle of our canvas, so we'll just write 200 in both the x's, the first x and the second x. So in the first position of x, the value will be 200, and in the second position of x over here will also be 200 because our line is going vertically, not horizontally. Now in the first position of y and the second position of y, we'll need to use our variable I. This is because the y axis, it will be changing because after every dash the y position will be changed. So I'll just write I over here and I plus 10 over here because I want the dashes to be spaced with 10 pixels in between them. Now we'll just drag the stroke y over here so that the color of our line is white, because the default color of anything in our game in code.org is gray. So we've just changed it to white. Now let's give it a go and run the program. Now you'll see a perfect line will be drawn in the middle, which will make the game look better. Now let's give both the paddles the movement. We want our mouse, like wherever our mouse goes, the player paddle should go along with it. And wherever our ball goes, our computer paddle should go along with it. So now what we'll do is that in our world area, we'll go to a world area, and when you scroll down, you'll see that there's already written world.mousex. So that signifies the Y position, the Y axis of our mouse. So wherever our mouse goes in the Y axis, our paddle will follow. So let's just go ahead and do that. So world of mouse x and player paddle dot y. So player paddle dot y equals world dot, sorry, not mouse x, mouse y. So wherever our mouse goes, our paddle, our player paddle should follow. Let's give it a go and run the program. You will see that wherever my mouse is going, my player paddle is following. Okay, so now let's do the same but for the computer paddle. So in this, wherever our ball.y is, our computer paddle.y should follow. So let's just do that. Let's just type in ball dot it's not typing. Ball dot x equals computer paddle dot x. Oh, I'm so dumb. We should do ball dot y. Ball dot y and computer paddle dot y. So now you'll see that our mouse goes, but our computer paddle is not moving because our ball is not moving too. So when we give it velocity, our ball should be moving. Our ball should be moving and our computer paddle should follow alongside it. So let's give it a velocity. Ball dot velocity x equals 5 and ball dot velocity y equals, how about -2? Low. Let me just change the y because it's stagnant. You see that my ball is stagnant because I have over here I've written that ball.y equals computer paddle.y. So wherever our computer paddle is, our ball.y is. So that's wrong because then the computer is thinking that the computer paddle, that's the main thing, because we have written that ball.y should have the equal value. So we'll just swap these two around. Just write over here computer paddle dot y. Now you see that my game is working, and wherever my ball goes, the computer paddle is following. So now what I'll need to do is that I'll need to make my ball bounce off these edges. So to do this, I'll take our edges as a sprite with the create edges sprite function. I'll just drag that to the really top. And over here I'll write ball dot bounce off, ball dot bounce off top edge, and ball dot bounce off bottom edge. We've done this because we only want our ball to bounce with the top edge and bottom edge, because whenever our ball goes outside the screen, out of the left side and my right side, my game should reset. So let's give it a go and run the program. Now you'll see that my ball is bouncing off the top edge and it's not bouncing off the left edge, and because the ball is going down and down, the computer is following it and going down too. So this is the time when now we'll introduce game states. So game states, there are three types of game states: serve, play state, and end state. So let's go ahead and make the variable. So variable game state, and S should be capital, only S. So there are three types of game states: serve, play state, and end state. So according to this game, right now our game is in serve. When I play the game, I have switched the game state into play state, and when I want to end the game, I switch the game state into end state. So we can control the game using these three states, and they're really important. They're really important to learn if we want to proceed. The first game state is serve, so I'll put that in double quotes. And right now isn't the game states in serve, so I'll use an if condition. In this if condition, I'll write if game state equals serve, then a text will be displayed. The text will give our player the instruction what we have to do to play the game. So over here it should be written press space to serve. So I'll use the if condition underneath the for loop. If let's write game state. Oops, it's not writing for some reason. Game state equals to serve. But in an if condition, we'll have to use triple equal to for comparison. So let's just use triple equal to and write in double quotes serve. So we need to use triple equal to's if we want to compare anything in our if condition. Let's proceed and write in the if condition string, so text. So we want press space to serve, right in the middle. And now let's run the program, and you'll see that there is press space to serve written in the middle. Now let's just convert it into the perfect middle. Let's give it 150, and it's in the perfect middle now. Because our ball is traveling at a really high velocity, let's reduce the velocity, because then it's a little easier. You see now it's working. Now what we'll need to do is that we need to use our AND condition. This AND condition, we use it mostly in our inside our if condition. We use it if we want to show our, like, if we want two conditions to be true at the same time. So let's go ahead and drag in the if condition. If game state equals to, with triple equal to, serve and, so now we'll need to use the and condition. To use the and condition, we'll just put the and sign twice with the shift and 7. We press shift and 7 at the same time twice. So game state equals serve and key down with double quotes space. So what this condition means is that just a second, I haven't put double quotes in the game state. That's important because that's necessary for if we want to define our game state. So in this condition, what I've wrote is that if our game state equals to serve and at the same time we press the space key, then our game state should switch to play state. So from serve to play state. Now you will see that when I press the key, it won't be working because before this, let's just make it bounce off our board, of our paddles, so it's going to be clear. Okay, we'll just use the bounce off ball dot bounce off what was it, player paddle, and we'll do the same for the computer paddle. Ball dot bounce off computer paddle. Now it will just bounce off it. And when I press space, let me just show you again. Right now I haven't pressed space, and just as I press space, my my instruction on the top, it disappears. So but I don't want this to happen because my game, it's still working, and I only want my game to work when I already press the space key. So we'll need to use another condition, another if condition, stating that if game state equals play state, then only our boards and balls should have characteristics. So I'll drag in another if condition, and I'll just give the velocity of the ball, I'll drag it from there to here, because I don't want the ball to be moving before. So when our game state is not serve, like when our game state serve, I don't want it to move, and just as I press space, then only a ball should start moving. So over here I'll write if our game state equals, with double quotes, play state, then all this, it should move, and our paddles should have characteristics. So now let's give our game a go, and you'll see that the ball's not moving, and our paddle, even if I move my paddles, if I move my mouse, my ball is not moving, or my paddle's not moving. So I'll go ahead and press space, and suddenly my game, it starts working. Our game is almost complete, and now all we need to do in our game to make it perfect is add score to it. So let's go ahead and make variables for the score. Let's go to the variable section, drag in the variables. Let's name them. Let's name this one comp. Comp. Oh god, what's happened to my spelling? Comp score equals right now 0 because we haven't played anything yet. So at the beginning, of course, our score should be 0. So this is our computer score, the score that our computer has scored, and this is our player score, so what we've scored. But of course in this game we won't be able to score any points because the computer, it's unbeatable, because wherever our ball goes, we gave it an instruction to go there only. So I'll teach you in my later videos how to make this a 2-player game. So what we'll do is that now we want this text or this variable to be displayed in our screen. So we'll display it over here in our play state, because we don't want it displaying itself in the sub, because there's no point. I'll just go to the drawing area, go to text without double quotes because it's a variable. We'll write player score with this is the position. In the previous game I have gave it a position of 170. The computer score, the comp score is 170 and 20, and the player score is 230 and 20. So I'll write that. So the player score, what was it again? 230 and 20. And 20, and just another one for the computer score, comp score. Let's give this a value of 170 and 20 like we did previously. And now we need to tell the computer whenever our score increases. So whenever when our score increases, then only the computer will increase it. So whenever our ball it goes out of the left edge or the right edge, for example, if it goes out of the right edge, the computer should get a point, and if it goes out of the left edge, we should get the point. So the player should get the point. So let's go ahead and do that with an if condition. Drag that in here, or in the game state only. If above, if ball dot y is more than 400, so if it's more than 400, then the computer should get the points. So I'll write over here comp score equals comp score plus 1. Now I'll do the same for us. So if with another if condition, if ball.y if 0 is more than ball.y, then the player gets a point. So we'll write player score equals player score, spelling mistake, plus 1, player score plus 1. So now when you run the program, you see that the points are increasing every time our ball.y is more than 0, or it touches the top edge or the bottom edge. So what we need to fix that problem is we need to swap this ball.y to ball.x. So let me just type in ball.x, because our ball is traveling horizontally and we want the points whenever our ball it goes out of the left edge or the right edge. So this time I'll just let the ball go out, and you'll see that the points, they are increasing really rapidly. This is because our ball, when it goes out of the screen, the computer constantly adds points, and our ball is moving down because our paddle is moving down because the ball is moving down alongside it. So now what we need to do is that whenever our ball.x is more than 400, our game state should turn to play state. Actually, no, not play state, serve, because we want the press space to serve to be displayed. Game state should turn to serve. The ball's position, like ball.x and ball.y, should be back to its original position, which was 200 and 200. Now you'll see that when the ball goes out of the screen, my ball, it returns to the center and keeps on moving. That is because our velocity, we have still given the ball a velocity. So all we need to do is set the velocity of the ball to 0. Now, let me just do that, 0. When we do this, you will see that our game is going to work perfectly. So let me just get it out of the screen, and now our ball is back to its original position, and my computer is asking me to press space again to serve. So I'll press space again, and you'll see that the computer, it's got a point. So that's our game completed, and just like before, in the link in the description below, if you don't wanna write your code, I have posted the GitHub below, so you can just click on the link and you'll see the description and you'll see the code in GitHub. You can just copy paste it with just like go to this text mode, and like in your code, when the space is empty, convert your block mode into text mode and just copy paste your GitHub code and paste it in here, and you'll get the same code as we've done today over here. So meet you in my next video, folks, and see you next time.